Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my opinion. Two test matches have been completed in this five-match test series, with India winning the first one and Australia winning the second one by an equally emphatic margin. And let's go into the preview of this third test match at the Cup. Starting off with India, the points of precariousness which I mentioned ahead of the second test match was what affected India in that match. On my playing 11, I'd said Rohit Sharma should bat number 5, and that did happen because I thought they shouldn't disrupt the opening combination in Yashasvi Jaiswal and KL Rahul, and I thought Nathan Lyon would have a greater part to play than he did in the second test match. I thought Rohit Sharma would be that player who could look to go aggressive against him. And I'd said Akashdeep should play ahead of Harshit, and I'll say this again. Bumrah is an attacking bowler who doesn't go for runs. Siraj, attacking bowler who goes for runs. Harshit Rana, even when Australia were on the ropes in the first innings, in the first test, he went for 4 and over whenever he bowled. So you've got two bowlers who go for runs. Nitish Kumar is not bowling much. Bumrah in the first innings of the pink ball test bowled 23 overs. And if he has to bowl that many overs, more often than not, will he last a series? I don't know. And especially at a venue like this, where I'll be saying the characteristics of this venue as I go along. And as far as the 11 I've gone for in this Indian side, it's the same 11 that I'd said in the preview of the last match. And that would be KL Rahul, Yashasvi Jaiswal to open the batting, Shubman Gill 3, Virat Kohli 4, Rohit Sharma 5, Rishabh Pant 6, Nitish Kumar Reddy number 7, Ravichandran Ashwin number 8, Jasir Bumrah 9, Mohammad Siraj 10, and Akashdeep at number 11. And I've heard a few, and before I talk about what I'm going to talk about, as far as the venue goes, Brisbane, the Gabba is a venue that sees a lot of runs, and a lot of the time the chasing team in the fourth innings has won the matches. We saw that to be the case when India won 3 years back to clinch the series 2-1. And that's why if Rohit Sharma wins the toss, he has to choose to bowl first. And on the reason why I've gone with this 11 is because now on Rohit Sharma, I'll say this again. Well, I haven't said this as much before, but if you've seen the way he's being dismissed, it's the same pattern of dismissals, the incoming deliveries from outside off stump. And I don't think it's been happening for a while. We even saw this happen when Ben Stokes bowled his first ball in return during the India-England Test series. And I don't think it's been something that's been worked on. And I've said this on a few occasions as well, where a lot of coaches go by the back your skills logic, probably because of the name that they're dealing with. You've got Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, two legends of the game. When something is not working for someone on a consistent basis, it's for both of them the same the patterns of dismissals respectively. I feel as a coaching staff, you've got to politely put a word to them to say, you've got this issue and we're going to be working on this before the next match so that you won't be dismissed in this fashion. If the player doesn't go by that because of playing you or some don't go by that, you shouldn't take a back step just because a player is reluctant to work on that aspect of their technique. I feel a lot of what's happening as far as bowling actions are concerned, where bowlers who are injury prone have technical flaws in their actions, or batsmen who are getting out in consistent fashions and their game is not being worked on. I feel the coaching staff contributes to that a lot because they back away the moment a player says, a big name says, I don't want to work on this aspect, which I feel is wrong because with the way both those two have been going, apart from the 100 that Virat Kohli scored in the second innings of the first test match, the dismissals have been consistent. And if that doesn't get worked on, I feel it will continue throughout the series. So as a batsman, does Rohit Sharma get into this team even then? Yes. But as a captain, is he the best suited captain for red ball cricket in the side? I've said this many times, he is not. We saw the difference between the first and second test. I said the defensive view to someone like a Travis Head. Even in a pink ball match, Bumrah has had to bowl 23 overs in an innings. Then imagine what's going to happen in this. I'm not sensationalizing because I feel given the conditions here, be much more unforgiving for the bowlers than in Adelaide and the Pinkport Test. If Bumrah has to bowl that many overs more often than not throughout this series, will he last the series? I don't know. And so the captaincy has been negative, and we saw the difference in the pressure applied in the first test match and the second test match at the Bull. I hope it doesn't happen again, but I fear it will do. And so another point in question is, we've seen some people on Twitter as well where they're saying Washington should play ahead of R. Ashwin. Both of them are very good players, but I'll say this again. In the second test match, R. Ashwin was the only other economical bowler apart from Bumrah, 18 overs, 53 runs, 1 wicket. And a venue like this, you've got to have that containing spinner who can also be a threat to the opposition batsman when you look to score runs. In this side, or in the world, really, there's no better option than R. Ashwin. He can bat at number 8 as well. He scored more runs than many of the players combined, even in one innings in the previous test match, and he was the second best bowler in terms of, well, I'd say second best bowler. Him and Bumrah were the only two options that India could rely on in that second match. And you're looking to drop him for no reason. I don't understand. We saw in South Africa he was underbowled. He didn't give many runs. But Prasidh Krishna went round the park in those two matches. And R. Ashwin was dropped in place of, and Prasidh Krishna retained his place. I didn't get that at all. So I hope he isn't dropped in this case. If he is, it would be a great injustice. I don't feel it would be a sensible call at all. And this is the 11 that India should go with, the same one I had said in the preview to the previous test match. If they look to back Harshit Rana again, I don't know how things will go considering the venue that they're playing in. So, but if India go with this 11, I think they've got a good chance to win this test. And on the Australian 11, not too much to say here. Josh Hazlewood is fit to play this match, so he'll be taking the place of Scott Boland, who bowled well in the previous match. And there's only one precarious point for this team. I said it before the first test match was played, and especially in this case, this is where it will be tested. They've got Josh Hazlewood returning from injury. Mitchell Marsh, whenever he bowls even a decent amount of overs, the fitness issues have flared up. And in this test match, these bowlers, the 5 bowlers, Mitchell Marsh being the 5th bowler, will have to bowl a lot of overs. In the previous match, they didn't have that problem because India didn't bat for too long in both innings. Based on what I heard ahead of the previous test match, Manas Labuschagne won't bowl at all, most likely, meaning Mitchell Marsh will have to be that 5th bowler. And this is the one point where India can look to bat a long time in this match. They won't get better conditions, I feel, to bat for a long time than at the Gabba. And if you've got a Josh Hazlewood who's just returning from injury, having to bowl a lot of overs, Mitchell Marsh having to bowl a lot of overs, and that can put greater pressure on Mitchell Starc and Pat Cummins. So that's India's blueprint, I feel, when batting, so as far as this match goes, and really throughout the series. But I don't feel there is another concern as far as this Australian team goes. Yes, a few of the players still haven't been scoring runs, but with the way they won the previous match, I think the confidence levels will also be restored as well. And finally, let's go into the comparisons of 11s between both sides. And finally, for the comparison of 11s. Now, which team is going to be able to bear through that 15 overs the ball moves around? If you're looking at the top 4, starting off with the opening combination, KL Rahul and Yashasvi Jaiswal for India against Usman Khawaja and Nathan McSweeney for Australia. Usman Khawaja hasn't been at his best form in the last few matches. Nathan McSweeney scored a 32, I think, in the first innings of the previous match. It was a bit jittery at first, but then he got more fluent. KL Rahul as well did brilliantly in the first test match, and I thought still did okay in the second test match, so the confidence levels will still be high, so I've got those two to take that edge. And Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli versus Manas Labuschagne and Steve Smith. Shubman Gill, I thought, batted okay in the previous match, unfortunately couldn't carry on. I think he's got some decent enough confidence behind him. And Virat Kohli, apart from the century against, I thought, a tired bowling attack at that point in time in the first test match, he hasn't done much. The dismissals have been consistent with the same form. Which is why do I think I feel if he's looking for a venue to score some runs, this is the venue where if the top three can withstand things past the first 15 overs, then you've got Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma to take full advantage of the relatively more placid conditions that follow. And for Australia, you've got Marnus Labuschagne, who scored a good 64 in the previous match. Steve Smith doesn't look like scoring runs, so we'll have to see. There's not too much of a difference right now, you'd say, between Virat Kohli and Steve Smith. I'd say that's equal. Because he scored the 64, which established an advantage in that batting innings for his team, I've gone for Marnus Labuschagne to take the edge ahead of Shubman Gill. So 3 and 4, Australia got the edge there. And now number 5, 6, 7, and number 8, where you can take the game forward when the conditions ease out. For India, you got Rohit Sharma, Rishabh Pant, Nitish Kumar Reddy, R. Ashwin. That's a fantastic four there. For Australia, you've got Travis Head, Mitchell Marsh, Alex Carey, and Pat Cummins. For Rohit Sharma, I said again, it's the same pattern of dismissal, and I don't think anything has gone into changing that. He won't get better conditions, I feel, to succeed than in this match. We'll have to see how he goes. And off topic, people are saying he should open the batting because that's his position. If he isn't going too well in the middle order, then I don't get how he's going to go well when the ball's moving around the first 15 overs. So he has to bat number 5. Travis said we saw what he did in the previous match, and as I said, the defensive fields continue. He will continue to do well. Rishabh Pant versus Mitchell Marsh, and Rishabh Pant takes that. Nitish Kumar has been scoring 40s, around about 40 every innings. Alex Carey is a very good play. He also scores around that 40-run mark, usually at number 7. Because of the confidence and how often Nitish Kumar Reddy is getting there, I'd say that he takes the edge in that regard. And R. Ashwin, Pat Cummins both will be very good at number 8. And now the bowling threat, where, especially after the first 15 overs, which bowling attack can remain in the game. For India, you've got Bumrah, then Mohammad Siraj, attacking bowler, goes for runs. I hope Akashdeep plays. He can be that defensive bowler, can bowl the ball in the same spot like a Scott Boland does. And then R. Ashwin has to play. Then got Nitish Kumar Reddy as well, who he's been bowling okay. For Australia, Mitchell Starc, Josh Hazlewood, Pat Cummins, Nathan Lyon. Now, if they have to bowl a lot of overs, how would Josh Hazlewood go when he just returned from injury? I don't know. That could be, in terms of how long he could last as far as the innings is concerned, that could be. But in terms of skill levels, the Australian attack, even though you've got Lyon and Ashwin, Australian attack, in terms of seamers, it does take the edge as far as threatening ability is concerned. So overall, I would still say Australia have got the edge going to this match. But the one way, India have still got the skill levels to win. As I said even before the start of the series, there is no dearth of skill levels between between both these sides. If India play the correct 11, and I feel a couple of players should have been caught for this series, full strength sides, and even without full strength, there is not a dearth of skill level between these two sides, especially on the batting front. If India can make the Australian bowlers bowl a lot of overs, then you've got Josh Hazlewood, Mitchell Marsh serving as precarious points. The greater pressure goes on Pat Cummins and Mitchell Starc. That is the main way I think they can really not only establish an advantage for this match, but in the next 2 matches as well. Let's see how this match goes. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. Remember, this is my opinion. Watch yours.